Hey, good morning, everyone. How is everybody doing today? I truly hope you're off to a great day, or maybe you're still sleeping and you're gonna be off to a great day because you got a lot of rest. Personally, I can't function without a good night's sleep. So, I've been going to bed early and waking up early and trying to get a start on my YouTube videos because I'm telling you, people, as the sun comes up and it gets brighter out, it's like practically impossible to do the lighting. I would have never guessed that natural lighting could be so annoying, but it's really hard, at least with my equipment. So hopefully the lighting's getting a little bit better. I'm working on it still trying to get like my studio together. If you notice, I'm kind of in a different space every time I'm on. So the things I want to talk about today. First off, I want to clarify that I made a huge mistake crediting the wrong YouTuber for the amazing scrutiny of a plunder video. Okay, so plunder took the footage from AWP of the personal items belonging to Kylie that were on the floor of the reservoir, like basically inside her vehicle on the roof. And in that video, you will see in a video made by Allegedly Innocent, and I love that name, it's so cute. And it's her latest video, at least right now it is. Right now it is September 15th, Thursday. Not even quite 8 a.m., something like that. And I also got the date wrong yesterday, but that's okay, I was close enough. I got the day right. So Allegedly Innocent just belabors the point of the articles inside the car, on the roof of the car, because it's flipped upside down, and just going over it again and again. I'm trying to remember what she called it, like suspicious or not, is this okay or not, weird or not. Anyway, the footage shows these items just like perfectly lined up, perfectly spaced, perfect, like perpendicular and parallel, and you got the alcohol right in the front, so you just can't miss it, with the name Truly sticking right up perfectly. There's a bunch of algae on the rim of the window of the door, except for half of it. When you're looking at the screen, it's the right half of it is perfectly shiny, and then you can kind of see the place where it then becomes algae covered. It's as though somebody had wiped it, or maybe accidentally wiped it when they were going in there to arrange things. It's just very suspicious. So anyway, good job Allegedly Innocent, and good job Paula Plunder. I want to talk about a few things today, and I like to give you kind of an oversight and then get into them. So I want to talk about manipulative liars and how they master that art, how they are cagey and gamey. They have an answer for everything, quick to answer, don't really give themselves the right amount of time to think about what they're going to say. They just start spitting stuff out. There's so many signals that professionals are aware of when people are not telling the truth. So some of those signals are the eye movements. Some are the humming and the hawing and the and the like and the stopping mid-sentence. And, there's the terms that I have always used for that, being from the mental health community, is cagey and gamey. And another aspect of being cagey and gamey is when the story's changing. So some of these things we're all aware of, like stories changing. We know that the truth doesn't change. Sometimes what you remember changes, or how you remember it changes, especially in a traumatic incident. Sometimes you just block things out, and then over the course of time, you start remembering more and more. I also want to talk about another mental health issue with our dear Kylie Rodney, which is just the simple fact of how isolated she was. What a beautiful, beautiful lodge these folks had the good fortune of running out there, way off the grid, in the woods, south of Donner Lake. And I've told you in other videos, I've been south of Donner Lake, and it's gorgeous. We used to have a friend with a wonderful house right on the water, and we had free access to go ski there as often as possible. And that's another thing. Truckee is Lake Tahoe, okay? So just because it has this like trucker kind of name, Truckee, doesn't mean it's not rich fancy pants land. It is absolutely rich fancy pants land. And the wealthiest of the wealthy, not just from San Francisco and Sacramento and Los Angeles and the whole West Coast, the wealthiest of the wealthy people from all over the world go there to ski every winter. Most of it's downhill skiing. There's several different resorts. Some are bigger than others, smaller than others, different types of slopes depending on what you like. North Star is right there in Truckee, and it was my personal favorite. I know it's a lot of people's personal favorite. It's kind of smaller and just freaking amazing. I'm not that great of a skier, but some people in my family are. So, if you do the double black diamonds, which I don't think I'm ever going to get there in this lifetime, and that's fine with me. Anyway, back to the isolation. She lived out there in the woods off the grid from the time she was 7. And it's my understanding that the Lost Trail Lodge might still not have internet access, which, there's a lot of people who like to live that way. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Teenagers, not so much, right? And especially with homeschooling, the internet has a lot to offer, a lot of brilliance, a lot of positivity, a lot of community, and it's real. I mean, just because it's cyberspace doesn't make it not real. You have to be careful with cyberspace the same way you have to be careful in real life. But that lack of internet access, I think, is causing the lack of photographs that people want to see online and videotapes that we're kind of used to seeing online, with cases like, say, the Watts family, where everything was documented on Facebook and the public had access. So, we're not going to find those things with Kylie Rodney and her family. And we need to just wrap our minds around that. It's not because she didn't exist, it's because she didn't exist so much on the internet. The other thing that goes hand in hand with that is the teenagers, okay, they all do their social media. And it sounds like she probably did a little bit of social media, like maybe when she was in town and at the tea donut shop that she worked at. I don't know if it was 2 different places or one and the same. She worked at a tea shop that was kind of like a coffee house, but tea, the bobo tea. And anyway, there's so many things to cover. So let me stay on track. The internet access and that will help me when I'm able to edit these videos. So I apologize. That bobo tea, what I got distracted with there is that Sammy mentions that Kylie gave her a bobo tea for free one day at work. And, I'm going to guess they're probably somewhere in the range of $6 or $7. I could be off, but that's the range of most things in a nice little coffee tea house, especially in Tahoe. It might be more. But, for Kylie to give one of those to her friend for free, she probably either paid for it out of her tips or was taking a risk of getting in trouble, even losing her job. And I don't know if Sammy realizes that. Nothing's free. Nothing is free, right? So, for Sammy to throw that thing in there about drinking a bobo tea, she's just trying to prove that she hung out with Kylie once or twice, in my opinion. So, as I start every tape, or at least try to get it in there by the end, I like to do all my disclaimers and reiterate that everything I say is hearsay. Everything I say is my opinion, and take it or leave it, take it with a grain of salt. It may or may not have anything to do with the facts of the case. There's a lot of speculation right now, so I'd say pretty much almost everything is speculation. Everything on my videos as well as other people's. So pardon the glare of the glasses. I'm going to get these on so I can refocus. So isolation really sets people up for problems. Loneliness, lack of social skills. I'm going to say that Kylie, being her sweet 16 self, probably had a huge social disadvantage to those kids around her at this party. She was about to turn 17. Most of these kids had just graduated. They were 18, some getting on to 19. And, peer pressure is a real thing. It's a very real thing. So kids drink at graduation parties. We all know that. And now with the legalization of marijuana in a lot of these states, and there's, a place where you can buy it, probably dozens of places where you can buy it in Truckee and Lake Tahoe area. Certainly Auburn, which is just like an hour from there. Anyway, the peer pressure. I heard a YouTuber yesterday stating that he takes all responsibility for himself when he's drinking and decides to get drunk. Okay? You're a grown man, and this is an underage, cute little blonde child. Okay? She's 16. You could call her a young woman, but she's technically, legally a child. I know I was a cute little blonde thing growing up, and honestly, by the time I was in my late teens or even early teens, I literally felt like a lamb on a hillside full of wolves. I mean, I was not even aware of how much danger there was, but it was very apparent much of the time. And people love young women. People are, obsessed with blonde hair, blue eyes, which was me. But now you have Kylie, the even rarer blonde hair, green eyes. Okay. This girl was really coming into her own. She was drop dead gorgeous. She was exotic. She was talented. She was quirky. People love talented and quirky, right? And then you got Sammy, who was also pretty much drop dead gorgeous, talented. I don't know if she was so quirky. She was kind of your more typical, from what we see. But also she was so much older than Kylie. It really sounds to me like she befriended Kylie. She won her trust so that she could exact her revenge. My opinion only. But that's what it's looking more and more like to me, is that Kylie was set up, that she was lured to this party that she didn't want to go to, she wasn't planning on going to. Her friends got her out there, and never saw her or heard from her again. Parties are places where people get killed. It's happened many, many, many times, especially in big cities. And like I've mentioned in a couple of previous videos, nobody saw anything, nobody knows anything. There's a lot of gang violence that happens at parties. And no one's going to talk. I mean, first of all, you got to, show how cool you are. And then the whole, snitches get stitches, which I like to say, these days, snitches get riches, okay? If you're the first one to snitch, you will get immunity. You will get a lighter sentence or immunity. If you cooperate with law enforcement, So please, anybody who knows anything, cooperate with law enforcement, okay? So another factor here in this case is Jagger's gaminess and his caginess and his story changing, okay? These kids are straight up lying, bald-faced lying to everybody's face about some things. That I know for sure. For instance, Jagger states, and all these kids keep saying, he lives 4 hours away. Oh, I was 4 hours away. I was in Napa. You know, I lived in the Bay Area, and even before the speed limit got increased, it wasn't a 4-hour drive, and Napa is actually a little bit closer than more Bay Area. It was a 3-hour drive. And when you're going to Tahoe for a 3-hour drive, you put the pedal to the metal. You speed. 2.5 hours, you could definitely do it in, even in the snow season. If it was a really bad blizzard, of course, that's going to slow you way down, and then 4 hours, okay? You can justify 4 hours in the winter during a blizzard. You absolutely cannot justify 4 hours. That's a bald-faced lie in the summertime with good weather. So I'm going to say you could probably do that drive from Napa to Truckee in 120 minutes, maybe 150, somewhere in there, without much trouble. So that's half the time. That's a huge difference. So why is he trying to make it sound like it's so much further than it is? And you know, a lot of people around the world don't know how close it is and don't know the culture there. You know, Napa is gorgeous. It's also a world-class landscape for wine. World class, one of the top in the nation. So anybody who owns a winery in Napa, which it sounds like Jagger's family might, they're rich as F, okay? And anybody who lives in Tahoe and is able to pay their bills and their taxes and keep up with the Joneses, also rich as F, okay? It's expensive as F. It's super expensive. So you're going to have to be wealthy. You're going to have cash flow, which lends the whole community to corruption, right? I mean, keeping that cash flow is key, and it's also tough. So sorry about the glasses, on and off. Okay. So I've covered Kylie being so much younger and so much less skilled in the social nuances of being a teenager. And then, you know, the thing about the internet, people bond on Facebook and, you know, with their Instagram and TikTok and all that. Look at us on YouTube. You know, we all feel like we know each other. I know I feel like I've made a few friends, believe it or not, on Facebook and on YouTube. I used to think that kind of thing was ridiculous, but, you know, you can tell when people are being authentic, and sometimes you can't, just like in real life. You've got to be careful. But we feel like we know each other, and in a sense, we do know each other. I mean, I'm not trying to hide anything from people about who I am. Of course, I'm not going to bear all, but, you know, just being myself, trying to be a little bit professional, but more than anything, I'm trying to just be me, because that's what people need. We all need the human factor, the human connection. So I'm really, really pissed off about this YouTuber trying to put the blame on Kylie for getting drunk, if she got drunk, okay? She's underage. Nobody should be supplying her alcohol. Nobody should be letting her drink. And if they are, they should certainly keep an eye on her, because she might throw up, she might pass out, she might throw up, pass out, and drown in her vomit. That kind of thing happens. For all we know, that's what happened. I don't think that's what happened, but, you know, it's all theories right now, okay? So, she was just extremely vulnerable and susceptible to peer pressure. And then when she is inebriated or intoxicated, even more so. So if people did intentionally hurt this young woman, if it was a setup and there was a fight or a scuffle or whatever you want to call it, that's disgusting. That's truly, truly despicable. And if they think they can get away with it, you know, you ain't seen nothing yet, because the way criminals are, they escalate. And the way psychos are, they escalate. So the more they get away with, the more they try to get away with. So if somebody caused harm to her intentionally and is running around free on a college campus, let's say, you know, what if there's somebody on the college campus that they feel competitive with? What if there's somebody on the college campus that they're in, you know, vying for a particular boyfriend over? What if, you know, in the event that there is a female that is involved with hurting Kylie, and, you know, this case smacks of a few other high-profile cases, in my opinion. One, Joran Vandersloot with Natalie Holloway. Okay? I don't think he had a jealousy factor, but I think he had a wanting to get laid factor. That was a horrible nightmare. And that kid got away with it for years until he didn't, until he slaughtered another person, right? In Lima, Peru. But his daddy died of a heart attack pretty quickly right after covering everything up for him. Nice, Joran. You know, you killed Natalie, you killed your dad, and then you killed the other young woman. I think her name was Stephanie. I'll have to look that up. But then, you know, it also smacks of the Amanda Knox case. And I don't like to say the villain's name as the name of the case. It's the Meredith Kuchar case. Meredith Kuchar. Most folks don't know her name. She was the lovely young woman who was found slaughtered on the floor of that apartment that Amanda Knox had been sharing with her for, I don't know, like a month. And Amanda was convicted, and she was not technically exonerated. She was basically eventually cleared of all charges so she could move back to the United States. But no, they deemed her guilty of Meredith's homicide, okay? Her fingerprints were on the knife. You know, I believe this to be true. I've studied some of that case, and True Crime Rocket Science, who I don't agree with everything he says, but he does an amazing deep dive on the Meredith Kuchar case. If you're interested, I would highly recommend that. And then you've got a new one. We've got the suspicions of Caitlin Armstrong murdering Maureen Wilson. Am I saying her name right? She goes by Mo Wilson. It's Mariah Wilson. Again, people don't know her name so well as they know her accused killer's name. You know, domestic violence is evil. Any violence is evil. Women killing women, horrible, horrible, horrible. A major controversial case is the Watts case, where we had 3 women, or 2 baby women, 1 grown woman murdered, and 1 bun in the oven, a little baby boy. 4 people, lives wiped out like that. Chris Watts said, "Yeah, I did it. I did the murders. I did each murder." Like you can tell in his speech pattern that he's not telling the truth. And that man's story changes every time he opens his mouth, okay? As does his mistresses. Again, shout out to Paula at Plunder for getting that 3-hour and 33-minute interrogation videotape 6 months ago released that had been on lockdown for 3.5 years. And Plunder just didn't give up. She finally got it. We'd all heard the tape, and it's so much more revealing to see the body language. You know, I try to give you guys some body language because it's kind of boring just to watch somebody talk, but it's nice if they're a little bit more expressive with their hands, right? Okay, so let's keep on with the glasses, off and on. It's such a pain. Maybe I should get contacts. Okay, so yeah, the NK is what we call her in the true crime world. So she many think she got away with murder. And it is harder to consider women doing these crimes. Domestic violence is nothing new. Men killing their girlfriends or their wives or their baby mamas. It's disgusting. It's way too common. There used to be that old school saying, what happens behind closed doors is nobody's business but your own. Okay? I feel like that's what Kylie's mother is saying to the true crime community when she's saying there's honor in silence and there's kindness in minding your own business. Okay? I really believe in minding your own business. Your life is going to be best when you mind your own business. I too live in a small town and everybody is up in everybody's business and it's stupid. People think they know things that they absolutely have no idea, right? In fact, it's why I didn't do a YouTube channel for so long that I've been thinking about it, because I thought, in this small town, people are going to be like, what does she think she's doing a YouTube channel for? She can't be doing no YouTube channel. People are going to say what they say. And for you trolls out there, I'm going to delete and block every troll that comes on. I'm fine with people expressing other opinions and disagreeing with me, but I'm not fine with people being jerks just for fun. And I feel like there's a lot of that on the internet, and a lot of times those people are bullying for a very specific purpose. They're trying to get people like Zav Girl to shut up because she's looking with great scrutiny at them. So they come online and they pretend to be so-and-so, or they get their friends and family to get out there, and then they can all gang up and bully and say, oh, you're so stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. And then they get critical about the stupidest things, like, I don't know, your lighting or something. I'm real conscious about my lighting, but no, nobody's attacked me for that yet, but I'm sure they will. And I will block them and, delete them and turn them in if they're being real harassing. So what else? Maybe I'll just wrap this video up right here. I'm sure there's a couple other things I wanted to touch on. This case is getting kind of crazy. There's one or two places that have claimed that Kylie was found with a blindfold on. That's a whole nother level of effery, if it's true. It's so hard to see in those grainy photographs, so hard to see, or the grainy footage. You can see what you want to see, and the lighting is funky, and you got water, and you might have seaweed, for all we know, laying across somebody's face. Things can look like things that they're not. So I think we need to be really careful. We don't want to speculate all these crazy, disgusting things when it might be less crazy and disgusting. But, it's my opinion that there's no way this was some type of innocent accident. Absolutely no way. There's all kinds of evil misdoings and victimization, at least at some lower level, and maybe at some higher level. I've heard people speculate that Kylie was a sacrifice. That's pretty freaking out there. But you look at pictures from her memorial service, and, it's got a Wiccan vibe, which is not the same thing at all as satanic crap. And there's that big purple flag with the weird, what looks like a black symbol that's actually just an outline of Kylie's silhouette. That beautiful picture where she's dancing in the black dress, and I think she has her hand over her head or something, and her hair's all flying. One of my favorite pictures of her. Just gorgeous. I'm sure Jagger probably took that picture. So the black silhouette that looks like it's spray painted on this big purple canvas and is hanging on black poles, man, that looks pretty odd. And then, the table that's an altar, it looks questionable. I think especially people who aren't part of that California culture, that kind of granola hippie culture, it's easy to mix things up. So I don't want to say that that's a thing. I don't know. I do not know. There's so many people online covering this case because there's so little actual facts and information. I want to say that law enforcement absolutely knew about these parties out there in the woods if they were happening every weekend. These fight club with alcohol fueled fight club. Yeah, that's not a recipe for disaster. And so law enforcement, it's their job to prevent people from breaking the law, or knee-jerk reaction to bust people for breaking the law. Ideally they're going to be preventing car accidents and crimes, and that's why they go out on a Friday night, Saturday night, and have checkpoints for places where they know people are drinking. So where were the police with this situation? You get into some really distorted jurisdictions when you're dealing with state park or federal preserve. Prosser Family Campground, I think, is like a national forest. So, you've got your FBI, you've got your park rangers, you've got these highly specialized divisions of law enforcement, and they should all be working together with local law enforcement, with the police, like Truckee Police Department, if there is one. I haven't really looked that up, but we know we have like the Placer County Sheriff and the Nevada County Sheriff, and that might be how they do things even in Tahoe. I'm not sure. But you also have all these private investigators. Sammy's mother and father's business is not the only private investigator firm in that area. You've got a lot of money coming through. You got Reno, half an hour away, which is a lot like Vegas. Oh my goodness, somebody put into one of my comments that Reno was kind of developed by Sinatra with the Rat Pack, and when they were getting Vegas up and running. And for anybody who doesn't know, us younger folks, I'm 55. I'm not as young as a lot of people think, but Sinatra was into some crazy shit. Okay. He gets very romanticized and idolized, but I guess Reno is his baby. Again, I can research that. That's what one of my commenters said, and I was like, wow, I had no idea. But we all know there's all kinds of crazy in Vegas, right? And Reno is basically a baby Vegas. Even that shooter at the Las Vegas hotel with the country music festival that shot all of those poor individuals out there trying to enjoy the music, that guy lived in Reno. The other thing with Truckee, Reno, and Tahoe, I'm talking about jurisdictions. When you're talking about crossing state lines, that makes it even tougher for law enforcement to follow cases and follow criminals and arrest and charge. You've got a couple of different states. Anybody who is law enforcement in California is not law enforcement in Nevada, and vice versa. So, that could be why the feds came in, probably because it was Prosser County, or Prosser Family Campground. Another thing it sounds like a lot of people are throwing out, and I think it's too early to dismiss the possibility that Kylie was abducted. Just because she was found in her car, and she was found back at the place where she allegedly disappeared from, that does not mean she wasn't abducted. She very well, and in my opinion, most likely was abducted. Was she trafficked? God, I hope not. I sure as heck hope not. these people are freaking twisted that are into that kind of thing. And hopefully they're all outing themselves and getting busted. On that, let me make sure that I have said all of the things that I really wanted to cover before my next video. I try to keep these videos shorter. I want to try to give you a synopsis of the things that I know, that I've been looking at, and my opinion, and then, you know, some of these other channels, Zav Girl, that do amazing work, but do these really long shows. You know, people complain like, oh, Zav, you're doing your show for too many hours in a row. So turn the freaking channel, people. Zav does what she does, and Upchurch does what he does. And if you don't like it, there's about a gazillion other channels you can watch. If you like mine, great. And if you don't, just keep on keeping on. You know, there's something for everybody. And if you're wanting to just criticize people, nobody needs that, right? And you're wasting your own time. So, the homeschool. The homeschool factor really challenges people for social skills. They might be brilliant academically, they might be brilliant with arts and music, but social skills are tough. They're super tough. And there's so many nuances. And I think we have it all covered for today for right now. The law enforcement not caring, maybe even using to their advantage these parties if they're as corrupt as it sounds like they might be, allegedly. So people abusing their power is nothing new, but it does need to become something old and outdated because you know, with technology and the internet, people are going to be getting busted more and more. So if you don't believe that, you can just wait and see, right? So I think we got a lot of this. And there's somebody's video that was talking about Kylie's license plate. And it was odd. I had noticed it was odd, but I didn't notice how odd. It starts with the number 8, and then it's like your, Y-U-R, I think, 127. And if you look up magic numbers, the internet says there's only 2 magic numbers, 127 and 128. 127 is a prime number, and I'm into numerology. I mean, is it just random that she got this license plate that says 8 your soul, basically? That's 127 is like a spiritual number. Whoa, bizarre. In my next video, I'll put where I got that information, because I do like to give credit to the people where I get these ideas, because I don't want to be stealing anyone's ideas. You know, a lot of these ideas I think we can come up with collectively, like we're all thinking it independently, different places around the world. And sometimes I say things in my videos that I'm like, wow, did that person see my video? Because I haven't heard anyone else say it. But, you know, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe they came up with it on their own. And, you know, that's okay. I certainly don't want to be stealing anybody's credit intentionally, even unintentionally. And I would hope that if people like my ideas and are going to run with them, that they would maybe give me credit. But I'm not that attached to getting that, you know, notch or gold star. What I am attached to is kindness and wholeness and justice and, you know, just being as honest as possible. So on that note, I'm going to end my little video here. It looks like it's about half an hour. Put my glasses on and I can see 40 minutes. It's a little bit long. Okay, we'll see you next time. Thank you. Have a great day. Drink your water. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Your grandmother was right. And get some exercise and rest.